Hey guys, so the other day I was changing the wheel on the DC5 and something disastrous happened. I managed to cross thread one of the studs. To show you guys what I mean, as I was putting this wheel back on, I was tightening up this very last wheel nut and yeah, I cross threaded it. So it does mean I need a replacement. It's been a couple of days and the stud is already looking very rusty, but I've been to Honda. I picked up a brand new wheel stud. So this can be fairly difficult to change, but first off, let's jack up the car. The DC5 now jacked up and safely secured with axle stands. And just looking at my tyres, I think I am due for a set of replacement fronts. But anyways, time to take off the wheel. Just before we start work on the stud, we just want to make sure that this fits onto the original wheel nut. Otherwise, if I ordered the wrong part or Honda sent me the wrong part, then it will be a complete waste of time. So that seems perfect. It's time to take off the caliper and the disc. A 17mm socket, small extension and a breaker bar for the caliper bolts. We also have two brake disc retainer screws. To get off the brake disc, I always use a rubber mallet. Couple of hits and it should free itself. With the caliper and disc out of the way, that is the stud to be replaced. If I just spin this around, this is the problem at the moment. If I was to knock it out here, which I'll just show you guys, it's actually hitting this section of the hub. To cut the wheel stud, I will be using a Dremel. And of course, don't forget the safety glasses. So half of the wheel stud is off. It's actually very hot. So it seems like even though I cut the stud down, it's still hitting onto that section of the hub. So I am going to cut about a quarter of the wheel stud in that direction and then spin it around, and hopefully then will it come out. The wheel stud is finally out. It did take more cutting than I expected, but here it is. That is the remainder of the wheel stud. So that was the top half, and then this was the head section that I cut into multiple pieces, as you can see. So hopefully with the newer one, I won't have to cut so much. I will just cut that top section off there, and then my idea is to pull it in there and then get it to miss this section of the hub. So this is the wheel stud. I've cut it where I've marked it. If I turn it to its side, you can see where I need to knock off. So here we have it. This is how much of the wheel stud I have cut off. Let's see if it fits on. So the wheel stud is going to sit back there, and you can see that where I've cut it right at the top, it fits nicely. So I just need to hammer lightly, hopefully not to damage the threads there, and it will sit nice and flush. The stud is in nicely, and I will show you guys in a second how I did it, even though you saw it already. But this brake shield, I hammered it so we can just pry it sort of back into shape, and it's all good. Okay, so you guys most probably saw that I bent this brake shield back, and then after I cut the wheel stud at a certain angle so as to clear the whole of this hub section. Now it did require a bit of hammering, but I did do it very gently, and you can see that there are very minor marks on the wheel stud itself. I try to focus in on that. Don't know if you guys can see it, but it does have a little bit of marks, but the wheel nut does go on nicely. So we'll just test that out first. So this is by hand at the moment, and it's already reached the maximum length there. So it's all good. I'm going to reassemble everything and just double check that this wheel nut does tighten properly. The wheel stud has finally been replaced with a new one. Yes, it did take me quite a few cuts on the head of the old wheel stud to get it out, but on the new one, I had to cut almost a quarter of the section out, and I know you guys will say that's not the proper way to do it. I should take out the hub, press out the bearing, and then after hammer away at the old stud. But not everyone has a press at home, and this is a much cheaper way to do it than going to the garage, because they can charge you a lot of money. So it can be done at home, providing you have the right tools, especially a Dremel to do the cut, or if you really have the determination, you can use a hacksaw and do it like that. But I hope you guys understand that this is just to show you guys it is possible to do it at home. It still works, it's still safe. It's not like the wheel stud is pointing out at a weird direction. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys soon.